Now?
We're live right now.
Right now?
We are live to the world.
To the
The
world.
world is not ready
Let me-
for
let
what
me-
we
let me jump
are.
on and see who the first one is to jump on. Wait. There it is.
We are live.
There it is. We're gonna have a commercial here or no?
Yeah, we gotta have a commercial.
No, straight.
Whoa! Did you pay some special fee that I'm not aware of?
We're there. We're good. Nobody's there yet.
That's all right. We got some people on the way. It's early. Do you want
That's
to?
Kevin. I turned mine down. AGH first in.
Bang. 927.
From,
Stamped.
Wales.
I mean, it's like
What's up, brother?
2:30 in the morning.
That's some
3
cool
o'clock.
shit, AGH.
Is
I'm
it
telling you.
2:30 or 3:30 where you are? Let's see what he says. Is that you?
No, that's Kev.
That's Kevin.
Fine.
I'm just saying.
2:30, Ken.
2:30.
I knew it was one or the other.
It's like the dentist. 2:30.
You're like me, Andrew. Up at
That's the
2:30
dentist time.
normally.
By the way, AGH.
Yeah.
That's called the.
I'm up naturally at 2:30, so I'm not. It's not like if I was to be logged into a
I
show,
see
people
many
would
at
be like,
2:30s.
yeah, of
I
course.
see many of them,
That's when I'm doing my best work.
especially lately since I binged watched Stranger Things.
So did I.
Awesome.
What's
Crushed it
the
3
stat
days.
on that?
3 days.
Longest, most viewed Netflix production over a 4-year span, over a 4-day span in the history of of their streaming. Yeah, I loved every second of it too.
Set it up for good for season 4 too.
Aaron's trying to tell me she read there's no season 4, but I saw the ending. I
Heard
know
it
what
today.
happens next.
Heard it today.
Yeah.
I have.
And I
Don't say anything.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
You're not going to watch it for like 4 years.
That's not true. That is not true. I've already seen episode 1. I'm on the ride.
All right.
The echo is Kevin with his sound up, so
I turned it off.
it's gone.
Yeah, was
James,
that AGH?
welcome, sir.
Was
What's up,
AGH
James?
noticing the
Yeah,
the
yeah,
echo?
yeah.
We're working. We got our sound crew is second to none.
All right, I'm on mute, so.
You are? You can't hear? You can't hear yourself?
On purpose.
Oh, yeah.
On my
sorry.
phone.
There you go. There you go.
You
Smart.
were really
smart.
You're just. It's tough.
If
night
when
for
you don't
guys.
have a cigarette, I somehow can't think straight. It's ridiculous.
I don't know if I appreciate that.
Let's get started here.
Let's get it started.
Thank you so much for giving us yet another Tuesday night. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. He's Tim Strachan.
Man, loving it. Every week I get all geeked up coming home from work on Tuesdays.
It's a Tuesday
We get
feeling.
to do this. This is what we do.
We get to do it, and we get to do it
This is
with,
ridiculous.
with Kevin Ricka.
I wait for Monday
We do
six
it
pack
with
to come
people
out religiously.
We do it with people on the other side of the world. It's
That's-
great.
That is cool. We got down south taking care of James down south. We got Andrew across the pond.
Got the West Coast
Across
taken care
the
of. If,
drink. Yeah, who do we got?
others show up.
We'll get some West Coast. We'll get
Other
some West Coast.
regulars.
Let's start talking some shit.
I think that for me, the thing that I wanted to do this week was talk about what I think are huge stories or big stories, and certainly things that are inherently either neutral or positive. So it doesn't necessarily have to go straight to the disastrophe that so often envelops Redskins news and stories. I think that a good place to start would be offensive line. Hogs Haven, by the way, thanks to everyone at Hogs Haven for giving us a watch and a listen. To everybody else, please click that icon. It's right on your screen. It's totally free. Give us a subscription. We truly appreciate it.
You kicked off a good discussion in the six-pack today, too, I thought. I thought it was an excellent.
Some good comments.
Great-
Yeah, some
great
people.
comments.
People had awesome stuff to say. It's easy. Like the less I say, the more good stuff other people add. Which
That is the smartest thing you've ever said.
it's true. It's true. It doesn't trust me. I believe I used the word Trent Williams.
Are you guys going to the movies? That's what's happening.
I'll butter the popcorn.
I
You get the
knew that was
Skittles.
going to be said. There you go.
Listen, the offensive line is the heart and soul of any really great team, obviously. But for the Washington Redskins, it has a special place for us. And I thought that the addition of Wes Martin and Ross Pierschbacher
Pierschbacher.
is kind of gone unheralded, and not because I don't think we recognize or think that they can play, but it's been like the 19th ranked story, maybe the 40th ranked. I mean, it's not a story. It's completely buried amongst a lot of other
Unfortunately
things.
for them, they're linemen.
That's right.
There's not a whole lot of sexiness there for getting clicks or selling newspapers.
Hey,
know. I mean,
be careful. We have some pretty sick people watching the show.
Mean. I'm just saying that's sometimes the burden of the position. It's
right.
the hardest position to play. It's the toughest position to play, and they don't get the glory that they deserve. That's all I'm saying. I'm actually giving them props.
Yeah, I know.
It was just weird that you used the term "sexy" as you were saying that. That was only that was the only reason
he's
I
all
balled.
geeked up tonight.
Yeah.
I just want to get.
Yeah, I don't want to get in the middle of all that. So you guys, I'm right here to say
Froghorn in the house.
Froghorn.
We've been kind of used to negative stories about the offensive line around here as of late, and mostly regarding injury and then some drama. So, those guys have gone under the radar, and I subscribe to both your theories. I was just saying it with less vile terms.
So we know there's facts we can base our thoughts on. Washington Redskins have used an infinite amount of offensive line configurations, and they've sent guys on the field who, quite frankly,
are you sure that Gruden's had 2,256,000?
It might have been a couple thousand less than that.
576
configurations, yeah. Because some guys were like you putting their left hand down.
I think
some
you were
guys
off
were
by maybe plus minus like 10.
Maybe it was pretty close.
Something like that.
What it says is guys like Wes Martin and Ross Pierschbacher, if they make the team, which they should make the team because we just drafted them.
They're making the team.
They're making the team. They're probably going to play. I mean, they're probably going to play. I mean, I hope they're not so terrible in training camp in August where people are like, how do we hide this guy? That's happened before. I don't think it's happening with these two guys. But they're going to play at some point because that's the reality of the NFL. And I'm kind of excited. I was trying to think of who I was more excited to see. Maybe just by virtue of his draft position, I've been biased towards Wes Martin. But there's something about Pierschbacher that I think translates to the next level that we just haven't seen yet.
Well, I think the reason why Martin would be the guest here is Pierschbacher is not exactly what we refer to as an athlete. He's no Brandon Sheriff. He's no Trent Williams. He's a bit rigid, a bit upright. But all those things are just what
he is his last name.
He's Pierschbacher.
He's Pierschbacher.
Great lineman name.
But it is, and Wes Martin is a dairy farmer, so it's not like you're right about the sexy thing. I forgot he was a dairy
doesn't
farmer.
Ionitis do it?
Totally
Ionitis
sexy.
from a farm or something like that too?
I don't know.
I think that's why his hands are.
It was Boone's
But I will
farm,
say
actually.
this: the two of them, it's very interesting to me that they're both All-Americans, both were 4-year starters, both captains, and both guards for a predominant time of their college position. Pierschbacher switched over to center for that last year. Wes Martin was working in the offseason with his trainer on snapping to give himself an extra dynamic in the league. So, they're very similar cats in that respect. Drafted a round apart. Big mauler brutes
big
in the
dudes.
run game.
As far
In
as
the
I'm
run game.
concerned, as long as I've been a part of football, size does matter when you're a lineman, right? That's the first thing everybody sees. But the next thing a coach looks at is feet and intelligence. Both these guys, I think, fit all three of those boxes.
All academic.
Correct.
All-Americans as well.
Linemen are not dumb. They are the smartest guys in some respects on the football field at any given time.
Yep.
There is so much complexity, so much coordination. When you get guys that are smart, like the honor society kind of guys, the leaders of their team. Those are the kind of guys that you can really build a team on in the NFL in 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds of a draft.
Well, if they're all those things, they better be mean because or else we're going to get our ass whooped. But I think they are. They're both maulers at the line of scrimmage. Super nice people, but someone else hopped in the driver's seat on Sundays, Saturdays up to this point. But then at that point, you got the feet, the smarts, and the ability to play ball. I listen. I know Ken. This Eric Flowers has this stigma as a tackle. I get it.
As being terrible.
As being a terrible guy.
He's terrible stigma. It's the worst stigma ever.
A top 10 pick in Brandon Sheriff's year that Jay Gruden was enamored with as a guard. And I think that's the reason why he's still around after that training camp, that Montez Sweat rented him as a one of those You rent a wreck? Is that what you call it? Because he drove him around all over the facility, and it was ugly, and we all saw it. We couldn't ignore it, and it was written about excessively. But a guy that size with that athleticism,
Sweat's ridiculous.
That's very true. I think it's a combination. And Eric Flowers, it has been determined he is not a tackle. You can say he can back up outside all we want, but that's gross. So,
no, I call those guys Mater D's. They just show you to your table. We've had left tackles and right tackles who have been extremely facilitating to the defensive linemen's coming their way. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Look out. There's guys who I liked to cover and who gave me the time of day when I showed up at Redskins Park. And I knew that their nicknames were like Interstate, whatever their number was.
No one else is being nice to him. You look like a friendly chap.
Yeah, and when your nickname is Interstate, whatever your jersey number is, that's a terrible, terrible nickname for an offensive lineman.
And you're looking for a friend.
Yes. Oh, you're looking for a friend, and I was there. I also want to say, as we kind of bridge through some stuff, awesome to see and hear from some folks who have been checked out since the end of the season. The I Hate Dallas, our guy, rocking the jorts and Crocs. Chambers 716, appreciate you. Love having you back. Thinking that it's our year. There's the optimism from the normal, usual suspects. I was excited to see that. So I was just happy to see some of these people ring in. They're checking back in slowly but surely. Everyone's coming back home.
And there's some big time optimism coming up here shortly. It's coming.
Can I pass my new Washington D.C. etched
Absolutely.
whiskey glass over to the other end?
Well, let's jump back one. We'll jump up one because one of the things I had asked was, what would our bread and butter be? And I know that. And we saw the comments from a lot of folks in the comment section saying it's run. Yeah, just run until you can't run anymore, and then just keep calling the run, which I totally get. And
in DC, we say run, Joe. Run, Joe. And I agree with that.
Yeah, and then I got no problem with that. I think that teams will be looking for us to do exactly that, and I think that's how they're going to defend us.
And I think that's where you're wrong, that the passing game has to be the bread and butter. I don't think it does. When you have guys like Case Keenum,
I didn't say the passing game.
Yeah, you did.
Oh no, I hadn't said that yet though. You're saying I was.
What you just said?
Well, I just said that
you jumped the shark, Strachan.
Yeah, you spoiler alert. You know that's
I've been wanting to pounce on
when
you
you
all
watch
day after
Netflix.
No. After
a whole season in one day,
I've been wanting to go after you on this.
You forget which episode is which.
I did jump
the storyline.
But
That's okay. I do think that teams are going to make us pass, and I think that's got to be our bread and butter. And you think I'm wrong? Go ahead.
So no, I do think you're right in that teams are going to try to force us to pass. When you got guys like Case Keenum and or Dwayne Haskins behind center, it's going to be hard to make that your bread and butter, right? And I think what has to happen is whoever's behind center at any given time has to take advantage of opportunities that other teams give you because they stack the box and they're going to force you to throw. 1, 2, very successful plays backs them off. Like, oh, crap, I don't know if we could do this all game. Then your bread and butter becomes your run game because I think that this is the only way that our offense this year
can win. I can't say
ball
that I
control,
think that's wrong.
Keep it because I think defense is where we're going to win games.
Yep.
So
when we've been terrible, running's all we had.
Offense does not need to put up 50 points a game.
Oh,
and they're not designed to put up 50 points a game.
And I'm not even suggesting by making the passing game
cannot be your bread and butter. Your bread and butter's got to be.
But that's why I said Trey Quinn, Terry McLaurin.
It's your running game.
So if you're a good NFL team, the running game is of course your bread and butter. I think I was more looking for a bread and butter. What is what not just run versus pass, but more like
I can't believe it's not butter. Is that what we're working with here?
I can't believe it's not. Maybe like canola oil with 20%.
Wheat bread. This sandwich is turning nasty.
Definitely not margarine though. That's definitely not margarine. To me, I'm talking more like a signature play that defines our ability to move the ball. If it's Adrian Peterson and Darius Geis, amen. That's awesome, and I hope that's what it is. But I think that it's going to be taken from us a lot of the time, and that's why I said Trey Quinn, Terry McLaurin, because I think those two guys, in addition to my respect for their game and what they can do, I don't think defensive coordinators are going to be spending extra hours at night game planning against Trey Quinn and Terry McLaurin. They're going to be trying to take Jordan Reed away, trying to take the running game away, and trying to make a Dwayne Haskins beat him in the air. And that's it's going to come down to a guy like McLaurin, who we don't know anything about yet, except I think we do. Gets open quick and does something with the ball.
If our bread and butter involves Case Keenum, Terry McLaurin, and Trey Quinn, then I think we're shit out of luck.
That's what I'm.
I
that's where
understand.
am.
But-
That's where I am.
Now, but see, the one thing that I think the one guy that's not getting enough shine, because listen, if you want to step up, if you want to, put 8 in the box and jam up the line of scrimmage, then that's creating one-on-one situations. And I know that I have not seen Trey Quinn do it yet. I understand he can. No one's seen McLaurin do it. We're hoping he can.
That's right.
But we have seen Jordan Reed get into that mix, and you can't bracket a guy with 8 in the
gets
box.
his
You can do your best, and he's
when
going to
he's
get
on the
his.
field.
I think the one rookie we're not looking at is Kelvin Harmon, and I know he's not a burner, but that does not mean he's not a one-on-one guy. I think he reminds me of an Alshon Jeffrey coming out of college. He's a big power forward that can box out, get into open space. He's a playmaker, and I think this is a guy that's going to be someone outside that we can rely upon.
And he's not drawing the other team's top 2 corners.
I'm just telling you, he might get a number 2 guy when he's playing outside, but in a one-on-one situation with his body type, his frame, and his strength, his toughness, and you know what? He's not slow. He's just not, and his game speed's going to be a tad different. I think Kelvin Harmon is the X factor here. McLaurin's going to have to play some inside, some outside, which means him and Trey Quinn are going to have to share some snaps. Bread and butter with those 3 guys. When I read that, it made me a tad bit nervous. And now the definition of bread and butter is different. We're talking more country crock here. We're not going into some straight
like a tub.
salted Land O'Lakes,
More
which
like
is
a
the only
tub.
butter to buy. Salted Land O'Lakes.
I agree. Ding, ding.
In this country. Sorry, AGH, if you want to hit me with some
I'm unsalted
Kerrygold,
Land
I
O'Lakes
get
right
that.
now.
I'm good with that.
Half
I don't know what
half stick or
but
full stick.
Oh, full stick.
I go half stick.
There ain't no half stepping. I believe
full-
Big Daddy
full
said
stick,
that.
Full stick. Full stick.
Ain't no half.
You don't get that 2-pack
sticking.
either. It's a 4-pack. You know you're gonna need that
I get
butter.
the 8-pack.
Ain't no
You
half
need
sticking.
that butter.
8-pack.
Ain't no half sticking.
That's what Big Daddy
I will
was meant
eat.
to sing.
I have eaten a stick of Land O'Lakes in my lifetime. Like it's happened.
Oh, for sure. Like I mean, oh god, I'm more Land O'Lakes than man at this point in my life, but it's still pretty strong. I'm working on it, T. I'm working on it every single day. Let's talk about Tim Settle, because to me this is like I sandwich everything
great
around
name.
him, and this is the highlight of my thought process for this whole thing, because I'm like, I love talking about Jonathan Allen. I love talking about Deron Payne. I love talking about Matt Ioannidis. I thought that Tim Settle was going to ultimately make Iron Man expendable. The fact that we now have 4 guys that you at any given time can throw up on the line of scrimmage. I do think they have this kind of confidence in Tim Settle. At the end of last season, he was playing like a man in the middle of a really solid defensive group. If he's going in week 1, I'm just saying it's going to cause problems for the other team. I mean, because he's not he's the secret guy. He's the secret agent. I think we got to think he's like 00 Settle. He is going to come onto the field when no one expects it to come from him, and it's going to come from him.
And it also helps Ron Payne in a huge way.
Yeah, Deron.
Because I'm sorry, Deron. Because he doesn't have to have a maximum amount of snaps. You can have 2 guys that are giving each other, when they are on the field, maximum capacity. If it's Madden, they're at full power every time that they're on the field. That's where it's huge, especially down there in trenches, to have 4 of those guys down there who can give each other spells, and other guys that can come in and the depth is great. The depth is what you need.
So we've watched 2 division rivals win Super Bowls, unfortunately, over the last 15
Philly
years.
knows that better than anybody.
Philly had a great defensive line rotation. The New York Giants upset the Patriots twice with a ridiculous defensive line. To a man, Ioannidis, Deron Payne, and Ryan Anderson, I know he's not a full-time D-line guy, but he can be on a passing situation, have said that first year, that rookie year, even coming from the programs that they came, I know I came from Rutgers and the other 2 came from Alabama, even coming from that situation, getting to the NFL, it was a different level of getting into shape. It was a different place to be. Tim Settle learned that during the course of the year last year, admittedly so at the end of the season, and all we've heard, all I've read about him bouncing back into this season is the shape he is in right now. He has transformed his dietary habits. His body has been totally transformed. This guy's on a mission, and the reason why he didn't get a lot of reps last year was also because those guys were great, but I don't think he had earned the trust due to situations like that to get more than spot time, even though he made plays when he was in. And I think it had something to do with his conditioning weekly throughout the course of practice. I'm not saying he was out of shape. There's a difference between college football shape and professional football shape. And I think he's figured that out, and I think he's going to have a badass, kick-ass type of season.
I think that the strength of the
need it.
entire defense is on the line.
Without a doubt.
Without a
And
doubt.
it's-
That is the bread and butter of the defense.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
There's no argument there.
There we go. What
Let's
are we
rank.
talking?
Let's rank cornerbacks 1 to 6. Norman 1,
Norman 1,
Dunbar 2.
Dunbar 2.
I go.
Let's track an answer. Let's
yeah,
track an
yeah,
answer.
three. Sorry.
I want to put Dunbar first.
I don't
I
have.
don't know why you would want to do that, but you
huge
can.
issue, except
It's
that-
a First
I mean-
Amendment.
I might go Moreau over Dunbar.
I mean, he's coming off. He has a terrible nerve situation in his leg last year.
Yeah.
We gotta hope comes back. And he's
yeah,
never. I don't know if he's
there's
ever played at that level
I
that
just-
Norman's been at.
It's more about not giving Norman top billing than
Why?
anything.
He was great last year.
But he's not as great as he thinks he is.
well, that's a personal
there's
situation
been
between
talk
you and
about
Josh.
cutting him for months.
You and Juice have been trying to cut him for 3 years. The rest of us, listen. I love
I
the
don't
guy.
think he's lived up to
Maybe not.
his contract.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
And
but
for that alone, I
but
don't
no
want
one
to give him
does.
top billing.
Who does? Who lives up to the cornerback contract?
Brady. Bell.
Great
Anyone
answer.
on
Bell?
a second contract is not getting.
Brady then Bell? How do you go from those two? Bell didn't play last year, so he didn't live up to his contract.
Last year, he didn't.
Right. And his
Every
contract-
other year, he exceeded
Yeah,
whatever
but he
the
had
fuck
nothing.
they
But
play
he
him.
didn't have a big contract before that. This was his big contract year.
Exceeded
Brady,
all of his contracts.
I'm done with this conversation. Brady, fine. I'm talking about. Never mind.
Answer your
All right,
question.
so we have 1, 2. Who's 3? Who's 3?
I'm Morrow to me is probably 2 over Dunbar.
Yeah.
But I that's also because of the injury stuff. I just don't know where Dunbar is and what he's got. I love him. I think those are our top 3.
I
And
like Dunbar outside. We haven't seen Morrow do it, but I love both of them.
Yep.
I really love our top 3 as a top 3.
Where 4 through 6 is where it gets a little bit dicey and shaky for me. But I'm excited to see these guys play because we're talking about unproven guys, and I'll throw some names out there. I mean, the Danny Johnson, the Stroman, Stroman, Adonis Alexander, Everett, DRC,
DRC, don't forget.
and of course Jimmy Moreland, who is in my top 6.
Jimmy Moreland's my
The
number
last
4.
two are the wild card, right? DRC and Moreland, they're the wild card because we're not sure how they're going to either fit in and where they're going to play or how good they actually can be at this level, right? So I think Stroman and Johnson obviously get the next 2 slots just because I was impressed with what they did last
Yeah,
year.
if Danny can stay healthy, he can play.
In bad situations, especially Danny Johnson's playing with a broken arm
Yep.
at one point.
I love Danny Johnson.
And they both can do special teams, right? So, and we know Moreland's going to be able to. That's how you round out the 6.
I think I'm Johnson, Stroman, Moreland at this point.
Oh man, I think you guys are nuts. Jimmy Moreland is definite 4 for me, and it's not close. In fact, I was thinking about if I could put him over someone else. And you've seen, I don't think he should come in and start for us, but I think he might.
But it's similar to our offensive
That's where I
line
am on
situation.
him. And look, we've all been high on Moreland. We all
Yep.
think that he's going to be the
He's far exceeded Stroman and Johnson
the
for me.
diamond in the
Far
rough.
exceeded
He's the
in
diamond
one
in the
weekend.
rough. And yes, we all expect and hope and want him to jump all them. I can't knock what Johnson and Stroman did last year.
No,
I thought Stroman was average. At
they'll be fine. Similar to our offensive line situation, this is another position group where depth is going to be tested almost certainly in a season. Cornerbacks they get banged up, and you got to have. We've thrown guys out onto the field that just got abused, and so I think that 6 to me is one of our deeper, more talented, younger cornerback
agree.
groups than we've seen in a long time.
The only thing that scares me is, now Moreland can be an undersized guy that can go out wide, I believe. I'm not saying I know. I don't think Johnson or Stroman can do that. Those guys are slot corners specifically. You got Moreau, who can certainly do both.
Yep.
Now he's made his bones early here inside, but I think Jimmy Moreland's a guy that could pop right in, and I can't wait to have him And I'm just not. Danny Johnson's tough as nails, and I love him on special teams. Not sure about him aside from as a slot. Greg Stroman didn't show me much last year, but he didn't. I wasn't upset with him. He was just what I thought he would be.
So our guests from all over the world, who
Yes.
span to Europe, all the way down south, and even across to the West Coast, they're saying the same thing. Norman, no, Dunbar's better than Norman, all this stuff. But then they just jump right to Moreland's going to eat people's lunch.
I
He's
don't
just
disagree with
absolutely
that.
going to do it. No one's talking about Stroman. No one's talking about Johnson on the chat right now. And
Well,
Those-
DRC's getting cut.
that
do
question's
too.
on. Is
And then
DRC
Adonis
even gonna make
Alexander
the-
is on the-
DRC
on the
even going to
list.
make the 53? Is right on here.
Farewell, Adonis, and farewell, DRC. I just can't. Listen, he saw everyone getting paid. He jumped in. He got a little bit of money. He even said it. I saw some of these guys that were getting hired last year, and I knew I was better than them. So I started working out again. Listen, he can't go play safety. They tried that in New York. So
Nope.
don't come at me with that. He's not a safety. He's a corner, and he made a great living. He had a great career doing it. I just can't see him coming in here and doing anything but being a good vet to have the young guys around through training camp, teach them a couple pointers, and maybe someone gets hurt, he makes the team. And that very well could happen. I just don't have any high hopes for DRC. It would scare me if he's playing a lot of snaps.
I've said it a million times. I completely agree with you. If he makes the team, I don't think that's a good result. But flip the other way. I think if he doesn't make the team, I think that's a really awesome story for the Redskins because it means that we got a guy like
Right. That's a guy that makes the team every year.
Yep. So you're doing all right there.
Until devastating injuries to our linebacking core in preseason, this was in my opinion, the weakest link on defense. You look at that list, it does not make me. It just does not make me extremely comfortable.
I'm not saying they're like the biggest kick-ass group in the NFL, but I think that's an impressive unit.
I'll give it to Norman that he's a playmaker. He's a ball hawk. He knows how to make big plays. I just don't know if he's up to the hype. Certainly, that's in his own head.
Well, those guys are different. You know that.
Divas.
They're different. Well, I mean, they're sort of divas, but they're the villain diva. They're not the wide receivers with the.
Yep.
They're the ones that get embarrassed.
I also
and
just
have
don't
to
think
have
Norman
no
gets
memory.
the respect amongst his peers that
Well,
he
he's a
thinks he
different
deserves.
dude. He's a different dude. I think that's
That
part
says
of it.
a lot.
I just like.
I just don't want him to be our number one. If he's our number one, it's a weak group.
I don't know. There's a lot of worse number ones. I think if you went through an NFL combined roster right now, how many guys are you going to find?
It's the toughest
Say
position
10?
in football.
Say 10 guys you'd
In
say
my
are better
opinion,
than
as a
Josh Norman?
quarterback,
I think there's 5.
I think it's the toughest position of football, not mentally, but physically.
Agreed.
It definitely is.
I agree.
the best
It is the
athletes.
toughest.
Takes a
So,
different breed.
I'm being a little bit
does.
too harsh on something that I have, absolutely had never had any chance of ever being able to do myself.
Neither one of
but
us were ever. None of the three of us were ever
I did play
earmarked.
safety a little
As
bit
a
early
great-
on, and I was
as
pretty
great
damn
cornerback.
good.
That's
But
not true at all. When I put the Champ Bailey jersey on, I locked it down in a way that you probably
Poor Megan.
yeah.
6'3",
I love the
safety's not
cool the
bad.
ordering up of the Kool-Aid for some people because we're gonna go out on a path to the division title. Bill at Bangkok just wrote a great comment on the article talking about what the Redskins actually need, and he's not wrong. The kind of combination of awesome things that have to go our way. And I love that the response to what was a very measured, logical argument was, hey, I think Chambers said something like, that's a little bit too much realism for this point of the season. I think he was ready to essentially just take 5 shots of 11-5, 10-6 to the face at this point in the summer, which I got no problem with.
That's what summer's for, baby.
I can make the case for 10-6 any day of the year. And I'll be happy to do that for this Redskins team when the time comes on Hogs Haven. I always look forward to that article. But I'll ask you first, T. If the
Too
Redskins
early for
win?
predictions. Am I doing a prediction here?
If the Redskins win the NFC East,
If,
what
okay.
player is most responsible for that?
Guys?
I love it. I think that's a good answer. Kevin, same question to you.
Dwayne Haskins.
So I think that's another great answer. I'm going to go in a different direction. I don't disagree with either of you guys, but I'm going to go in a different direction. And to me, I'm going to say Montez Sweat. And I think that there's a lot of people around him who have to do their job for him to succeed, but he's the freak athlete player in the position that that when the guy can wreak havoc, that havoc has such a impact on the game. Getting to the passer, if he can do that, and if he can put that minute bowl, wingspan and that 4.4 speed, to work for us, I'm gonna say Montez Sweat. But that's I think all of us are wrapped up in what Bill and Bangkok's point was, which was pretty much all these guys have to show up if we have any
no
chance.
doubt. Collective.
Can't believe that none of us said Jonathan Allen.
We just expect it though. We expect it from him, but he could easily be the best guy.
Is he going to surprise you if he kicks everyone's ass and
Something
dominates?
just tells me because I hear it.
Surprise
I
me.
hear it on local radio. You hear it on podcasts. You read it in. There's no doubt he is the captain of this football.
Did you hear Kevin say this morning on Doc? Speaking of
I did.
Basement on local radio.
I did.
Thank you again, Doc Walker. Kevin was on the DOC. We had someone, the real Grumps. He said, heard Kevin on with Doc this morning. So that was a
Nice.
comment on the six pack saying, hey,
First Amendment's going somewhere.
yeah,
only
don't
had-
worry, we're not going
I
anywhere.
only had to give him 27
No, he
bucks.
said going somewhere in terms of going to good places.
Oh, sure. Well, I think the
we
basement's
are.
a great place.
We are.
This basement gets better.
I
every
love
week.
coming to the basement.
It's the best.
But thanks. That was cool because you know what?
was.
Doc knows how we feel about this team.
Yep.
He knows
we'll
exactly
still be
why we
here.
do what we do.
We'll still be here doing Redskins.
Yeah, man. And you know what? It's not
Not
bad to
going
have a
anywhere.
little positive spin because
right.
it's July.
We're gonna have
if you,
Doc.
if you can't be positive in July, yeah, Doc's coming for
We're
a
gonna
late,
have
a
Doc
late
down
summer
here.
party.
We're gonna have Doc in person, right here.
Yep.
You might have to get St. Megan's blessing that he smoke a cigar in your basement.
Oh, I don't think that's happening.
Well,
That's why Kevin's talking about the patio. But
We
listen,
might.
if you're a member of the Hogs and the Fun Bunch, you get carte
St.
blanche
Megan would do
usually.
this.
Yeah, we'll put a smoke eater into the ceiling somehow.
was
I
gonna
know
say.
Kevin and Darren McClinton, they're going to be involved in that show for sure. The whole First Amendment Sports team, we're going to have a fun night that night. I want to say thanks to these guys for hanging out with me on another Tuesday night. We're going to be back again next Tuesday.
I expect my $20 when the show's over.
Oh yeah, don't worry. You got it. Canadian, always, of course.
Those called dollars or
Dollars A. I think
Dolores.
it's dollars A. Thanks for hanging out with
Dollars,
us
eh? That's what they call 'em.
on a Tuesday night. Thanks for giving us some of your precious Tuesday night time. Trust me, no one knows better than us how important Tuesday nights are to everyone's week. It's the new Tuesday, as we like to say. Or we're working on saying. I don't know. T says a lot. I don't know what he's talking
by
about.
we,
mostly.
you mean you
I'm
and
not
T.
listening to you. I'm not listening to you.
Not listening to you. I'm not listening to you. Thank you guys so much. Until next Tuesday night, he's Kevin Ricca.
Hey, I love being here. Sorry, Eric Flowers, about everything that happened down here tonight. We're all pulling for you. At least I am.
At least he is T. He's Tim Strachan.
I just want to throw out quote of the night tonight from James Rainey. Our D line is going to make that secondary look good. You're right.
That's what it's
You're
going to take, and I got you on that one. I do appreciate that. To all the folks who
wise man.
joined the conversation on the six pack at Hogs Haven, a lot of old names that are resurfacing. It makes me happy to see back. And you know what? I feel like we've tapped in. As Redskins fans, it's hard. You guys know that. We know that. It's been hard. Fun days, bad days. But the cool thing about what we do with the Nats and the high school football and the Caps and some of the other stuff we talk
The
about,
mess around, which we don't put out very often
it keeps it fun.
because it's late
Yeah.
when we do the mess
And that
around.
it rejuvenates our Redskins fandom. But we're
does.
the mess around. We gotta take the mess around
The
live.
Redskins fandom is the heart and soul of DC fandom.
The mess around is
Yeah.
always
And-
just
and
like
that
a
we know.
game time decision, you know?
Thank you, everybody. Come back in about 5-10 minutes. Check out the Hot Box. Kevin and Darren McClinton talking about the hardwood with yours truly. We'll get whoever involved we can. We'll see what these guys got up their sleeve. I'm sure, like me, they feel that Russell Westbrook is afraid of the Western Conference, and
Oh
they
my
probably
God!
feel
Stop dead in your
that
tracks.
I think they feel that.
Are you going to say this joke again?
Stop it.
No,
That he
I
should
didn't.
change his-
I didn't.
he
I just
should
say
change his name
he
to
wants out of the
Eastbrook?
West.
Take another power sip.
Thanks, appreciate
He
that.
has no one on his team. It has nothing to do with the West. He's in Oklahoma City. You're nuts.
He wants out of the West.
Stop. He's a fearless bastard.
I've been to
love
Oklahoma
You would
him.
never
I
say
love
that
him.
to his face.
I've been to
I love
Oklahoma
him.
City.
I have too.
Yeah,
I understand. I know why Kevin Durant got the hell out of there.
No offense to Oklahoma City. I'm sure you're very extremely nice people.
And you heard it here first that Paul
nice.
George was getting out of OKC.
So
you heard it
nice.
here first.
It's not a great city.
Some great restaurants on the Riverwalk.
We
Just
have
Riverwalk.
Just throwing it out there.
spiraled out of control. Take another power sip.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate
You
that.
know what? Don't listen to us. Listen to the Hot Box guys talk basketball, all right?
That's going to be in
Next.
5-10 minutes. Until next Tuesday night, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was the Audible.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate you.
Still live, still live.
Actually, I'll give it more, not 5, 10 minutes. I'll give it more like 25. They'll be on.
Come on, James.
Yeah, wouldn't go back in there for
Let's just
25,
cross over.
35 minutes.
Don't hold your breath, but they'll be on.